Have you ever stumbled upon something creative that just clicked? That's what happened to me when I discovered collage. I didn't expect that it would turn into the art form that I enjoyed the most, but it did for many reasons. At first I had doubts. Would it hold my interest? Would it be too simple? Could I push through the self-doubts that always came up when I would start something new? What I discovered was freedom. Freedom to play, to explore, to create without rules, and slowly build up the trust in my own instinct. In this video, I'm sharing 9 reasons why collage became my favorite art form and why it might be the spark you've been looking for in your own creative life. And if you're ready to try collage yourself, I've made a free beginner's guide with a list of art supplies, paper sources, photos, and inspiration. Just download, print if you'd like. The link is in the description. The first reason why collage is my favorite art form is because you hardly need any art supplies. One of the best things about collage art is the low barrier to entry. You don't need a fancy studio setup and you don't need to spend $100 at the art store. You actually only need 3 things. You need paper, you need glue stick is probably best, and you need something to glue the paper onto. That's it. Your substrate, which is the thing that you glue the paper onto, could be anything. It could be an old notebook, it could be junk mail, it could be a regular piece of paper. I often use a glue book with a bunch of random papers, but you could do something else, like index cards, for example. And there are other supplies like scissors or a ruler to tear paper, washi tape, stencils, stamps, ink. But none of that is required. That's what makes collage so freeing. You can start with whatever you have. Collage is also affordable. You don't need to buy new things. It's even better when they're not new. Junk mail, paper packaging. As a matter of fact, I just got a box of something from Amazon the other day and it was full of brown craft paper as padding in between. That is such good material for crafting. Magazines, old book pages, newspaper, all of those things can be part of your collage. You can keep it as budget friendly as you like, but of course if you want to buy specialty papers later you can. But to begin, you really don't need very much. The second reason why collage is my favorite art form is because it's extremely flexible with your time. You don't need hours of uninterrupted time to enjoy collage. Our lives are busy. We have things to do. We have families. We have homes to keep up. Collage is one of the few art forms that fits around your schedule, not the other way around. You can do collage in bits of 5-minute increments sprinkled throughout your day. I know because that's how I did it when my kids were little. Someone's taking a nap, finally. Okay, I can work on some background pages. You could be watching TV and trimming scraps or sorting papers. And because I mostly collage just with paper, there's no paintbrushes to clean and there's no paint that's drying. I don't even need to glue anything down. I can arrange papers and then set them aside if I get busy and I need to do something else. If you're tight on space or time, try this. Keep your collage in progress on a clipboard or on a tray so that you can actually pick it up and put it somewhere safely out of the way so no one can touch it. And that way you can come back later when you have the time. I actually made a video on this concept a while back called 5 minutes at a time, where I show you this sustainable way to create art in small bursts of time through your day. I'll put the link in the description. You can check it out later. Before we get to the next reason, if you are enjoying this video, please do hit the like button so that it can spread to others, and consider subscribing if you are enjoying this kind of content. The third reason why collage is my favorite art form is because you get to play with paper. One of the purest joys of collage is how it brings you back to something so simple: paper. What kind of paper do you love? Vintage book pages, bold magazine ads, delicate florals, old ephemera. It doesn't matter where they come from, they all belong in collage. Maybe you've been collecting paper treasures without even realizing it. Birthday cards, old letters, postage stamps, receipts from a special trip, packaging that's too pretty to throw away. All these things from your life become the materials that you can use for collage. You can use the originals, of course, or if you don't want to, you can scan and print them, whatever feels right to you. And here's the best part. While you're playing with papers, you are quietly learning about design. Collage teaches you about shape and color and texture and layering and negative space, all these big art concepts without the pressure to get it right. You're just moving pieces around, trying things, seeing what clicks, and that is the learning. So here's something important. Collage helps you let go of perfectionism. Maybe you prefer a torn edge rather than a straight edge cut with scissors. Maybe your favorite part of your collage is a paper that is partially crumpled. Collage is one of the few art forms where the unexpected can make your piece even better. It helps you develop your intuition so that you can let go and enjoy the process, even if you don't know where you are heading. The fourth reason why collage art is my favorite art form is because you can play around with themes and eras. Collage is more than cutting and pasting. It's a way to explore ideas and aesthetics and periods of time. You can follow a theme like flowers or furniture or sewing or old letters. I have a glue book that's dedicated entirely to the color red. So red inks and red postcards and whatever things that I could find, old book pages that had color red in it, I would include in this glue book. It's fun to start thinking about what you have been interested in collecting over the years and if those things can be represented on paper. You can also time travel with collage. If you like 1960s fashion, you could look for old magazines from the 60s or 70s and pull pages from there. If you are into mid-century kitchens or old cookbooks, those are great ways to use materials for collage. My grandmother had a pamphlet of old recipes that were for gelatin and gelatin molds with things like suspended tuna, which I thought is incredibly weird. But I guess gelatin was a big thing in the 40s and 50s. So adding some of those recipes in a collage feels like honoring those times, but also creating something new. Collage can be a great form of memory keeping, especially if you are a person who loves to hold on to those little bits of life, of old ticket stubs, of family photos, of things that you pick up on trips, for example. All those things can be put onto a page. There's no layouts to follow. There's no embellishments that are required. With the materials you have, you are building something personal. Of course, scrapbooking is its own amazing art, but if you've ever felt overwhelmed or just wanted something more relaxed, then collage is a great alternative. The fifth reason why collage art is my favorite art form is because it travels well. One of the underrated joys of collage is how portable it is. I've mentioned before that you don't need a big setup, you don't need paints and brushes and lots of things like that. You just need paper and glue and something to glue the paper onto, and you can pretty much collage anywhere. Some people love the idea of taking a small glue book with them when they travel. You can bring a few materials with you, but then of course pick up things along the way. You can use them in your glue books right away in collage or bring them home and work on them. At home, I've even made a small travel kit for the car, which I use when the kids have practice somewhere. I use stackable bins that I found at Target. On the top I keep loose papers, and underneath I store a glue stick, scissors, and any small items that I have. Collage lets you keep your creativity going, even if you're not in your usual space. Whether you're traveling really far or just to your backyard, you can take it with you. The sixth reason why collage is my favorite art form is because you can go tiny, huge, or something in between. Collage isn't tied to a particular size, so you get to decide how big or small your project gets to be. Sometimes I work tiny. I like making collages on playing cards, on Rolodex cards. I make artist trade cards and artist trade coins. These little projects are fun to experiment with. Other times I go big. Up here on my wall, for example, you can see I have a large canvas. It's layered with French textbook pages, vintage postcards, maps, and found papers. I do enjoy working on a large canvas, but there's something really satisfying about working on a small piece because there is that sense of completion when you do something like a Rolodex card, for example, and then it's done and you put it on the ring and you're done for the day. The seventh reason why collage is my favorite art form is because you can bridge into other book arts. Collage blends beautifully with other book arts, especially if you enjoy working with journals and altered books and other handmade notebooks. Junk journals are the perfect example. They can be made from everyday materials like packaging and envelopes, and collage fits right in. I like to use junk journals in this way, and you don't even necessarily need to collage in the junk journal. You could do it separately on a piece of paper and add it into the journal later. It's the same concept more or less with altered books. You're taking an old discarded book and perhaps taking out some of the pages so that it doesn't get too bulky, but then you can add your collages inside, either making them separately and then gluing them onto the pages of the altered book, or altering the pages directly in the book itself. You're reshaping something that already exists into something new. So yeah, it's a kind of recycling. The eighth reason is that you can add mixed media to it or not. So collage doesn't need to stop at paper. It can be the jumping off point for a whole bunch of other things. You can layer it with acrylic paint and watercolor and inks and stitching, stencils and modeling paste, right? There are so many things that you can do with collage. And if this makes you worried about putting it in a beautiful journal and you don't know if paints and things are going to ruin it, you can start with something like junk mail, for example. Use that as the way that you experiment and try things with your wet mediums so that you can see what works best and what you're comfortable using. This is a great way to experiment and not worry about ruining things. It's really important to see what you like, find your style. For me, for example, I tried some of those wet mediums and realized that I am happier when I just stick to paper. But you've got to try your own way and see what works for you. And the last reason why collage art is my favorite art form is because you can send it in the mail. Collage doesn't have to stay in a journal or on a wall. You can send it because it's flat and because it's lightweight. You can create postcards or you could create little interesting things that can go into an envelope and be mailed. One of my favorite things to do is to create a 4x6 postcard with a pretty collage on the front, and on the back side I add a short note and maybe decorate it with a bit of washi tape or a postage stamp that fits the vibe, and then it turns my whole project into correspondence art, which is something personal and thoughtful and totally one of a kind. And don't forget that you can mail something to yourself. Why not? It's kind of an experiment to see what's going to happen. Is it going to have any marks on it? What's the cancellation mark going to look like? Is it going to hold up okay? I don't usually put varnish on the top, but you certainly could. I just double check that everything is glued down really well and then mail it as is. But I love that it's a traveling piece of art that comes back just a little bit changed. So those are my 9 reasons why I love collage art. Once you start, you'll probably find your own. If this video sparked something for you and you thought, I want to try this, I've got a free beginner's guide. The link is in the description. You can download it and print if you would like. Now, if you are looking for some inspiration and ideas for using old book pages, I have got 8 creative ways right here. These are going to motivate you.